Crystal glasses trembled. Somewhere near the string quartet, a violin screeched mid-note and fell silent. The sound hung there, sharp, unfinished, like the breath of a room that suddenly forgot how to move. "Don't you dare touch me." Jane Andrews' voice cracked through the ballroom like a whip. Every head turned. The chandeliers above Wrigley Mansion splintered their light across the mirrored floors, scattering diamonds across silk gowns and tuxedos. The city's wealthiest froze, champagne flutes halfway to their lips. And there, at the center of it all, stood Mariana James, the maid. "Welcome back. Trust your day is going on well. Support the channel, like, subscribe, and share to make it go viral." The woman no one was supposed to see. Her emerald gown shimmered beneath the gold light, each fold catching the glow like it had been stitched from calm defiance itself. She didn't flinch, didn't blink. Her hands rested loosely at her sides, still as a statue in a storm. Jane took a step forward, face twisted, her diamond bracelet clinking against her glass. "What are you doing here?" she spat, her voice trembling between outrage and disbelief. No one moved. The air itself seemed to lean closer. The pianist's hands hovered above the keys. The waiters stood frozen mid-pour. The scent of champagne and roses lingered, sweet, expensive, suffocating. Mariana looked at her slowly, eyes steady, the faintest trace of something unreadable on her face. In that silence, the walls of privilege and cruelty felt thinner than glass. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm, low, unshakable. "Exactly what you invited me to do." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Then nothing, just the echo of her words sinking into marble and money. Jane's mouth fell open. Her husband's eyes shifted. The chandeliers hummed with electricity, waiting for the next sound that never came. The moment stretched, brittle, breathtaking. Then the screen faded to black. Earlier that week, Wrigley Mansion, Phoenix, Arizona. The world inside the mansion woke before the sun did. Mariana James moved through the marble halls like a shadow, steady, silent, unseen. She pressed crisp linen, steam rising in ghostly ribbons. She polished silver until her own reflection disappeared in it. Downstairs, the smell of roasted coffee and perfume already filled the air. Jane Andrews' laughter carried from the terrace, high, performative, edged with cruelty. "She actually thought I'd donate that dress. Can you imagine?" she said to her friends, her words floating over fresh squeezed orange juice and idle gossip. From the kitchen doorway, Mariana kept her eyes down. Years had taught her that invisibility was safer than dignity. Louis Andrew passed through the hall on a phone call, voice clipped, polite. He nodded faintly at her, acknowledgement without seeing. He was the kind of man whose world was numbers and names, not faces. By mid-afternoon, the desert light turned the mansion gold. The house looked alive, its people hollow. Mariana paused for one breath at the window, watching Phoenix stretch into heat. Sometimes she wondered what it would feel like to live a life that didn't vanish when someone richer entered the room. If you've ever felt invisible in a world built to overlook you, stay. This story isn't just hers. It's for anyone who's ever had to swallow their worth to survive. That evening, Jane appeared at the top of the staircase, a glittering silhouette framed in sunset. She held a gold envelope between two manicured fingers. "You'll be there, won't you?" Jane said sweetly. "Wear whatever maids wear to a gala." Her friends giggled. Mariana took the envelope, her eyes steady. "Of course, Mrs. Andrew." The paper smelled like vanilla and warning. Night settled heavy over Wrigley Mansion, wrapping its silence around the marble halls like a secret no one dared to speak aloud. The other staff had gone to bed. Only the faint hum of the air conditioner and the rhythmic sweep of a duster broke the stillness. Mariana moved through the guest suite, polishing the same picture frame twice, lost in thought. Her fingers brushed against the glass and stopped. Behind a thin layer of dust, a magazine clipping sat framed on the wall. The headline shimmered under lamplight. Mariana James, the woman who taught Phoenix to read. Her breath caught. For a moment, the years folded in on themselves. The screen of memory flickered to life. Ribbon cuttings, camera flashes, children laughing as they clutched brand new books. A younger Mariana, radiant and fearless, surrounded by hope and sunlight. Then came the headlines. The whispers. The betrayal. Money missing from the James Literacy Project. A name dragged through mud she never stepped in. She'd walked away quietly, thinking the silence would protect her. Instead, it erased her. Now, standing in a billionaire's guest room, the woman who once built dreams was cleaning other people's mirrors. The golden invitation on her dresser seemed to gleam brighter, almost mocking her. She picked it up, thumb running over the embossed letters. Her pulse thudded in her ears. For a heartbeat, she wanted to tear it in half, watch it fall like ashes to the floor. But then she saw her reflection in the glass beside that old magazine cover. Not the maid, not the scandal, the woman who once mattered. She whispered to the empty room, voice steady and dangerous. Maybe they should remember who I was. Outside, thunder rolled over Phoenix. Transition. The storm was coming, on the horizon, and in her heart. The storm never really left. It only followed her into morning. Mariana sat at the edge of her narrow bed, the golden invitation resting beside her like a dare. The mansion was still asleep. Only the faint ticking of a clock filled the air. She reached under her mattress and pulled out an old flip phone, scuffed, outdated, and full of ghosts. It took 3 tries before it powered on. The screen flickered to life, blue and trembling. One name waited in the contact list, untouched for years. Angela Ruiz. Her thumb hovered, then press call. Downtown Phoenix buzzed beneath neon signs and desert heat. The door to Angela Ruiz's atelier opened with a jingle of brass bells and the smell of fabric and jasmine. Mariana. Angela's voice carried warmth that no time could fade. She stepped out from behind a curtain, tape measure looped around her neck, eyes wide with shock and something deeper, recognition. Mariana barely spoke before Angela wrapped her in an embrace. For a long moment, the world was quiet again. Only soft jazz played from a corner radio, weaving through bolts of silk and velvet. When they finally pulled apart, Angela studied her, head tilted. "You don't need saving," she said, voice firm, certain. "You need reminding." Mariana smiled, small, cautious. "Reminding of what? Of who the hell you are." They spent hours sketching, draping, remembering. Emerald for rebirth, gold for resilience, power stitched into every seam. Angela pinned a piece of fabric to the mannequin, the color catching the light like fire. "When you walk into that room," she said, "they won't see a maid. They'll see a woman they should have never underestimated." Mariana touched the fabric. It felt like armor. Some stories remind us that silence doesn't mean surrender. If this moment stirred something in you, stay with Mariana's journey, because what comes next changes everything. Outside, the sun sank behind the Phoenix skyline, turning the windows to molten gold. Tomorrow, the transformation would begin. The days that followed blurred into color, motion, and sound. Steam hissed from irons. Scissors whispered through silk. Threads of emerald and gold danced between Angela's fingers like sparks caught in air. Jazz played low in the background, steady, alive, unrelenting. "Every stitch is a piece of your name," Angela said, her voice soft but sure. She leaned close over the sewing machine, the hum rising beneath her words. "They try to take it from you. We're taking it back, one line at a time." Mariana watched herself in the mirror, barefaced, hair pinned back, eyes hollowed from years of invisibility. Each alteration, each layer of fabric, seemed to pull something forgotten out of her chest. Between fittings, doubt crept in quietly. What if they laugh again? What if they still see the maid? Angela caught the flicker in her reflection. "You're not going there to prove anything," she said. "You're going to remember everything." Cut to Jane Andrew in her sunlit kitchen, phone in hand, voice syrupy with arrogance. "Oh, she won't come," Jane said, stirring her mimosa. "She's probably polishing the silver right now." Laughter echoed through the mansion's marble halls, light and cruel. Back downtown, Angela placed the final accessory in Mariana's hand, a thin gold bracelet engraved with a single word, "Rise." The mirror reflected a woman reborn. Her hair fell in soft waves, her skin glowed with quiet power, and the emerald gown shimmered like truth under pressure. Mariana slipped the dress over her shoulders, the fabric cool and alive against her skin. She exhaled slowly, steadying her hands as the weight of the moment settled over her. In the hush that followed, she looked in the mirror and whispered, "Let's begin." The desert night glittered like spilled champagne. Wrigley Mansion glowed under the phoenix moon, its marble terraces draped in fairy lights and pride. A string quartet played near the fountain, where champagne poured endlessly into crystal bowls. Photographers flashed along the red carpet as socialites struck their perfect, rehearsed smiles. Inside, the ballroom shimmered, gold accents, orchids imported from Singapore, laughter that never reached anyone's eyes. Jane Andrew floated through it all, wrapped in diamonds that caught every light, her laughter loud enough to fill the silences she feared most. Louis stood near the bar, nodding through conversations he wasn't really in. His phone buzzed endlessly with business updates he barely heard. Jane touched his arm. "She's not coming," she said, voice dripping with satisfaction. "I told you. She wouldn't dare." He offered a non-committal smile, but his gaze flicked toward the door anyway. Outside, engines hummed softly. A black SUV rolled to a slow stop beneath the circular drive. The valet straightened, expecting another politician or heiress. Instead, the door opened, and silence spread like perfume. First, the shoes. Emerald heels, sharp against the marble. Then, the hem of a gown, gliding like green fire. A figure stepped out, unhurried, poised, unbothered by the eyes waiting to judge. The musicians faltered mid-note. A glass slipped from someone's hand and shattered softly against the floor. Under the chandelier's light, Mariana James crossed the threshold of Wrigley Mansion. Not as the maid, not as the forgotten, but as a woman the city once cheered for and was about to remember again. Jane turned. The smile froze on her lips. Her glass trembled just slightly. Sometimes the quietest arrivals make the loudest noise. If you believe dignity can outshine wealth, this is your story. Stay until the end. Mariana stopped at the edge of the ballroom. The crowd parted in instinctive awe. Jane's eyes widened, shock, disbelief, a hint of fear flickering beneath all that polish. The music died completely. The silence broke in whispers. "Who is she?" Someone murmured near the bar. Another voice followed, low, uncertain. "She looks familiar." Eyes darted. Fans fluttered. The ballroom's golden hum turned into a tremor of curiosity. Then, near the front, an older man in a navy tuxedo froze mid-step. His drink tilted slightly in his hand. "Wait," he said, voice cracking through the noise. "That's..." He took a breath, almost reverent. "That's Mariana James, from the literacy centers in South Phoenix." The words rippled like a spark catching dry grass. "Mariana James? The reading program woman? Didn't she?" Gasps swept through the crowd, followed by the hush of recognition. The kind that feels like shame when truth walks into the room. Louis Andrews' eyes flicked from Mariana to his wife. His expression shifted, first confusion, then the slow, cold bloom of realization. He stepped closer to Jane, his voice quiet but cutting. "You knew who she was?" Jane's breath hitched. Her practiced smile faltered, the diamond facade slipping at the edges. I didn't realize," but no one was looking at her anymore. All attention bent toward Mariana, who stood unmoved beneath the chandelier's glow. She didn't defend herself, didn't gloat. She simply existed, elegant, unbothered, whole. Every rumor, every insult, every laugh at her expense dissolved in that silence. The old philanthropist raised his glass slightly, almost in apology. "The city owes you more than it ever gave," he said softly. Mariana's gaze swept the room, steady as a sunrise. She didn't need to correct them. The truth was already rewriting itself in their eyes. Jane's hand trembled on her glass. The music hadn't yet returned, because the moment didn't need sound. It had her name. Jane's voice broke the silence first, thin, trembling, desperate. "It was a misunderstanding," she stammered, forcing a brittle laugh. "We just wanted to include her, that's all." No one answered. The lie clattered to the floor like glass. Mariana took one step forward, the chandelier light spilling across her shoulders like a crown she'd earned the hard way. Her voice was calm. No anger, no performance, just truth wrapped in grace. "People like me clean up your world quietly," she said, her words cutting through the air like silk. "We scrub the floors you walk on. We make the mess disappear. But don't mistake silence for absence." The crowd didn't move. Every gaze locked on her. Mariana's eyes lifted, steady, luminous. "Dignity isn't about money," she continued softly. "It's about who you are when no one's clapping." The room exhaled all at once. A single pair of hands began to clap. Slow, deliberate. Then another. Then dozens more. The sound swelled, not polite, but powerful. A rising wave of recognition. Jane's smile collapsed under the weight of it. Her husband turned toward her, voice low and sharp. "You invited her," Lewis said, as a joke. Jane froze. Her painted mask cracked for good. "Lewis," she began, but he'd already looked away. The applause built behind her, pure, unrelenting. Every clap struck like thunder chasing her out. Jane spun, heels snapping against the marble as she stormed toward the door. The sound echoed through the ballroom like gunshots in a church. Mariana didn't move. She only stood there, hands folded at her sides, letting the sound wash over her. Not victory, but peace. For the first time in years, she was seen. Mariana didn't move. She only stood there, hands folded at her sides, letting the sound wash over her. Not victory, but peace. For the first time in years, she was seen. Outside Wrigley Mansion, the desert night was still. The laughter and music had faded into memory, replaced by the low hum of cicadas and the warm rustle of wind over stone. The air smelled faintly of sage and champagne. Angela waited by the car, one hand resting on the door. Her expression was soft, proud. When Louis Andrews stepped out behind them, he didn't speak. He only met Mariana's eyes and gave a single, silent nod, a gesture that said everything words could not. For a moment, the three of them stood under the Arizona stars, the mansion's golden lights flickering like distant ghosts behind them. Then Mariana walked toward the SUV, the emerald hem of her gown brushing against the gravel. Inside, the silence felt sacred. The city stretched out below, Phoenix glowing under an orange haze, its skyline pulsing faintly against the horizon. Angela glanced over, her voice breaking the quiet. Was it enough? Mariana didn't answer right away. She traced the rim of the window with her fingertip, eyes catching her own reflection in the glass. The woman looking back wasn't the maid who once scrubbed those marble floors. She was something else now, something whole. Finally, she whispered, no, a faint smile curved her lips. It's just the beginning. The SUV eased forward, headlights cutting through the desert dark. Behind them, Wrigley Mansion disappeared into shadow. Ahead, the city waited. In the window, her reflection shimmered faintly. Chin lifted, gaze steady, wearing an invisible crown. If Mariana's courage lit something in you, hold on to it. Because stories like hers deserve to keep breathing. Stay with us. By connecting with us, subscribe, like, and share and make it go viral. See you in the next journey.